Hello, my name is Michael DeAndrea. I'm a professor in consular education, a social justice advocate, and president of Social Justice Creations nonprofit organization. I'm broadcasting today from Kaneohe, Hawaii, a small township on a bordering between rural and suburban Hawaii and the island of Oahu. Where I'm located is a place that will oftentimes be filled with natural sounds: birds chirping, dogs barking, chickens clucking as they walk around, and beautiful children in the neighborhood playing. So if you hear any of that sound in the background, you know the context from which this broadcast is coming to you. Our nation is in crisis. We're at a tipping point. The chronic problem of the complex problems of racism and their manifestations in society are coming to a boiling point. Perhaps it's long overdue. Perhaps white persons could have, should have, and must now do more to address the complex problems of racism and other forms of injustice and marginalization among persons of color and persons in other minority groups in our society. The terrorism that was manifested in Charlottesville, Virginia last weekend, initiated by members of the Ku Klux Klan, white supremacist groups, Nazis, and self-identified fascists, has no place in American society. It reflects a form of psychological intolerance that leads to various forms of psychological, emotional, and behavioral disorders among people who are filled with hate in our society. We all have a responsibility, and as part of the Social Justice Creations nonprofit organization, we are again sponsoring a number of free electronic computer-based national town hall meetings to not only discuss what happened in Charlottesville over the past weekend, but more importantly, perhaps, to discuss what we are committed to do in the future to eradicate racism and other forms of injustice from our society as a way to promote peace and health and well-being in the United States. Originally, the first in the series of national town hall meetings, which is scheduled and will happen tomorrow, Thursday, August 17th, from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, was designed to address and discuss the irrational threats that have been going on between leaders in the North Korea country and the President of the United States. Threats about utilizing possible nuclear weaponry to resolve international conflicts between those two nations. Well, since this past weekend, we have had emails and phone contacts from friends and allies in Charlottesville, as well as in Seattle, Oregon, New York City, Miami, Florida, Nashville, Tennessee, and other cities across the country who have asked that we modify the topic that was initially designed to look at the whole controversy of nuclear proliferation and potential use as threatened by leaders in these two countries, to focus in on people's reactions to and possible suggestions for practical things we can do to address these issues in our lives with others. So tomorrow, we will hold our first in a series of town hall meetings talking about the terrorism that was manifested in Charlottesville and what we can do to prevent or ameliorate similar problems from occurring in other cities and communities across our country. Some of the things that we can all do is to pick up the phone, to call friends and colleagues, to plan on hosting a neighborhood or community meeting. We all can turn to our religious communities and speak up in our churches and our mosques and our synagogues about the important role that religious leaders and congregations can play in their communities to prevent violence and to promote peace and justice. We would do well to suggest some actions and work with others who are interested in modifying our suggestions and coming up with a practical plan that is designed to prevent violence and to promote peace and justice. You know, the internet has a lot of petitions that are offered for people to sign. These petitions are helpful, especially when large numbers of people, in the tens, hundreds of thousands, and millions, sign these electronic petitions, especially those designed to promote justice and peace, that are sent to elected officials. The greater the volume of petitions that are signed, the more attention elected officials, who are responsible for developing and implementing legislation to promote peace and justice and prevent hate crimes from occurring in our society. All of us can repair acts of hate-fueled vandalism in our society. We know that there are places in our communities and neighborhoods where people who identify with hate groups paint graffiti on walls. We can repair that and paint over those symbols of hatred. We can use whatever skills that we have to offer. For instance, if we work in a print shop, we can offer to make flyers that highlight issues related to peace and justice in our communities and neighborhoods. We can share our musical talents at rallies and protests. And as employers or as administrators in educational institutions, we can agree to give employees and students afternoons off to attend rallies and protests that are grounded in nonviolent philosophy. We can be creative. We all can take some kind of action. We can do our part and must do our part to fight hate. Lastly, we can participate in the free electronic town hall meeting sponsored by Social Justice Creations to share your reactions and thoughts and suggestions about what you're doing or other people are doing in your community, so we can build on those or replicate those actions in our own community. I'm hopeful and looking forward to working with those of you who can participate in the free electronic computer-based town hall meeting that is initiated tomorrow as a call of conscience. You will be receiving a link that you can access the first in a series of town hall meetings through the Social Justice Creations Facebook and through listservs that you may be participating on. Feel free to share the link with other persons in your community who might be interested in participating in and learning about what other people are doing, because together we can and we will combat the hatred and the racism and the other forms of injustice that are continuing to be perpetuated in our society. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to consider this video and the information presented, and please do something. We're not asking you to do 100% more on 10 things. If we all simply did 5% more on one thing and added up those 5% across the country, we would transform this nation from the pits of racial despair and tensions into an oasis of hope, peace, and love. We can do this together. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and please have a great day today, one filled with happiness and good health and safety in your lives. Thank you very much to all of you.